Electra over the top has gone up. Electra, the WA star, has won.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip, featuring Peter O'Neill. This is where we take a look at the WA Greyhound racing scene, keeping a close look at what is happening on and off the track.
Keep an eye on the clock. She is brilliant, Miata. She stops the clock. 36.55, a new track record.
Away in the Oaks. First to jump, Sunset Serengeti gets to the lead. From Lip Trick, Sunset Hornet, Sunset Lasso, Wise Barra, then Shy Emoji, West on Miley, last Tahiti Dreams. Sunset Serengeti a length in front. She holds the aces. Sunset Hornet the outside. Lip Trick's running the race of her life, and they're clear of Wise Barra, but good luck catching Sunset Serengeti. Sunset Serengeti stretches out and wins it by 3 over Sunset Hornet, Lip Tricks, Shy Emoji, Sunset Lasso.
And very good morning, everyone, and welcome along to Greyhound Gossip. Yeah, brilliant win by Sunset Serengeti for David Hobby, who's now 5 from 5 over the distance and at the track at Mandurah, taking out the listed Mandurah Oaks on Friday night. And she continues on with her outstanding form. She's now won in excess of $80,000 in stake money. So we're about to be joined or head across to Queensland, because some of these outstanding greyhounds trained by David Hobby, I'm sure, will be heading up to Queensland for their Rich Carnival, and Luke Gatehouse is about to join us online. Luke, good morning.
Good morning, Pete.
Looking forward to the Queensland Carnival. We've had a very good carnival over here in Perth, the Sandgroper run recently, and all eyes will be coming up with the Queensland Winter Carnival coming up. Of course, WA chasers in recent years have had a lot of success.
Certainly have. The reigning Brisbane Cup champion and the first to win the $1 million race was your Sandgroper, and hopefully we'll get a few more over this year. And Tommy Shelby as well, who performed well over here a couple of years ago. He's taking the breeding side of things over here in Queensland by storm. He's, I think, third on our Brisbane premiership at the moment.
Yeah, doing very, very well over here as well. A greyhound in his first year, Tommy Shelby, whose progeny had stake earnings of $1 million in his first couple of months of 2024. He has had stake earnings with his progeny up over $2 million, and it all started, of course, up in Queensland, one of his Group 1 victories. You mentioned Elite Machine, our WA Greyhound of the Year, and Cannington, and we'll be talking with Pete Howell shortly, our racing manager from Races WA, about the closure of Cannington at the end of May, and with only racing at Mandurah and also at Northam, I would expect some of these greyhounds to be heading across to Queensland for the rich prize money. Let's go through the carnival and tell us when it all starts and how much prize money is on offer this year.
Yeah, so we're pretty much in it now. We've had our Young Guns series, and we had the heats last week, the final this week, and we've attracted a few very nice interstaters. August Bob was very impressive, and so was Warm Cockles for Dave Burnett, really impressive as well, was the fastest heat winner. Then we hit into the local stuff, the Q Gold heats and finals. They go on basically from the 16th through to the 23rd of May, and then we're into the group races, commencing with Champions Night. So we have the Group 1 Flying Amy Classic, the Group 2 Cindy's Magic, and the Group 3 Dashing Corsair. So 520, 600 and 700 all on the one night on the 6th of June with the heats the week before. It's a great way to kick off the carnival.
It certainly is. And, of course, the rich $1 million Brisbane Cup this year, the prize money just continues to grow up in Queensland.
Yeah, so Cup Night, which rounds it out on Thursday the 4th of July, the $1 million Brisbane Cup for the sprinters and the $262,000 Queensland Cup for the stayers, and plenty of consolations on the night, and there's a Masters race on and a maiden novice Mickburn Memorial. So we're catering for all comers, basically, over all distances, all grades. We've got some age-restricted races, so there's plenty to pick and choose from, and there's a really good flow throughout the carnival in terms of bringing your dog up for the 6 or 8 weeks and being able to have a race every week for it.
You've been around greyhound racing for a while, Luke, even though you're only very, very young. Did you ever think when you started that you would see one night of greyhound racing in Queensland where there's $1.5 million in prize money on offer?
No, I think back in the Gabba days, the Gabba Club was the first to pay out $1 million in prize money in a year. So we're sort of 50% more than that in a night. So it's pretty amazing. And, you know, you look at the Flying Amy Classic. When I started, it was an $8,000 total prize money race, and 18 years later, it's $225,000 Group 1. Amazing.
It certainly is. And also one thing that has really taken off over the last few years is the State of Origin, which is going to be part of the carnival again this year.
Yeah, so Thursday the 13th of June, it's Origin night, and tinged with a bit of sadness with our good friend and New South Wales coach and really the face behind our Origin series, Terry Hill, passing away tragically a couple of weeks ago. So it'll be an exciting night, but tinged with a touch of sadness.
Certainly will. He certainly was one of the big promoters, wasn't he, in New South Wales and in Queensland on this carnival?
Yeah, and there's nothing was too much trouble for Tez. He was a super bloke. He was a good mate, and just brought the crowds, and he was an entertaining guy. So yeah, I'll miss the guy.
Looking forward to the carnival, Luke. Just before we let you go, can you give us an update on what's happening with the new facilities and the new track, which we're hoping to see with your Nationals next year?
Yep, you certainly will see the Nationals there next year, and the three tracks are really well underway. The buildings are now taking shape, so all the formwork's done, all the early works are done, the slabs are poured, so it's now onward and upward and battling the elements at the moment. We've had a fair bit of rain in Queensland pretty much over the last 6 months, but the construction is pushing on and it's really taking shape. And the Racing Queensland website has updates every month with some good photos on it if people want to have a look. But it's going to be an outstanding facility. Just standing on it when you go out to visit, it's amazing in terms of its size to get from one side to the other. And yeah, 3 tracks straight, 1 turn and 2 turn, all in the one facility with all sorts of added extras. Will be a great boost for greyhound racing up here in Queensland.
It certainly will. Certainly will. Mate, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Good luck with your carnival, and I'm looking forward to hopefully having some of our West Australian stars up there trying to take some of your prize money back to WA.
Thanks, Pete. Everyone's welcome, and you just need to contact the club. We can help you out with special trials and working out the easiest way for you to make your trip over to Queensland. If you talk to some of the trainers who have been over in the last few years, they'll tell you how much they get looked after.
Good on you, mate. Take care. Luke Gatehouse joining us from Queensland, and there is some rich prize money on offer. And, of course, last year we saw Elite Machine head up to Queensland and take out the rich Brisbane Cup. And, of course, he went on to be named the WA Greyhound of the Year. So some outstanding news indeed. We're about to be joined by a lady who came across to Perth recently for the Sandgroper recently, and she had some success with the Warrnambool Cup as well. And we'll be joined by Michelle Mallia in just a moment.
Racing in the Cup, away fast in the centre would have been Fernando Phil, showing speed on the outside now. Matlock driving through the fence and deeper comes Description. Trying to cut across would have been Bernie Burrow. Matlock went through and led from Flying Fernando. For the back would have been Morton around the outside. Trooper Tears and then Super Shanks and Description as they turn for home. Matlock the leader, 4 lengths in front from Fernando Phil down the outside. Trooper Tears, but Matlock wins the Warrnambool Cup by 2.5. Morton flashes for second, third Trooper Tears, and fourth Fernando Phil. Back behind them, Suka Shanks, and then came Description. Flying Zulu a long way back, second last, and Bernie Burrow was last, and the gallop in 24.98. Matlock for Michelle Mallia wins the Warrnambool Cup number 4.
Yes, what an exciting night it was, the Warrnambool Cup last Wednesday. It's always a great carnival, and Michelle was across in Perth with the Sandgroper recently, and she had success with a greyhound by the name of Matlock. And while we wouldn't normally over here in Western Australia be talking about the Warrnambool Cup, it's a great story, and Michelle has been good enough to give of her time this morning on Greyhound Gossip. Michelle, good morning. Have you got over the win from last Wednesday yet?
Good morning. Yeah, we have. We'll just move on to the next one now. But it was a big thrill.
It was a big thrill, and it's a great story, Michelle, because greyhound racing, and you've been involved in the sport for so many years, greyhound racing can certainly have its knockers, but this is a great story where Matlock has been named after 2 young gentlemen, a young boy and a young guy who's been involved in greyhound racing for a little while, both of them with illnesses, one of them with spina bifida and one with cerebral palsy. Can you explain to us how both Matt Field and Lachlan Barsby became involved and how you got them involved in this greyhound?
Yes, I can. Matty Fields, I've known him for quite a while now, and I gave him shares in a dog called Matt's Hope, which we named after him as well. He had him going for a little while and had a lot of fun with him, and his career came to an end. So then I had another one coming through the ranks. So I said to Matty, would you like to share another one? And he's like, oh, yeah, no worries, that'd be awesome. So I gave him 25% share, and then I was at Geelong. Just before, a few weeks later, I was at Geelong, and an older gentleman by the name of John, he's a very good friend of my father, and he said to me, come over and meet my grandson. So that was young Lockie, and I asked him if he wanted to share, and he's got a little machine that he pushes, say yes or no or thank you. So he pushed the button and it came out, yes, please. So it was just awesome. So I've given them both a share. And like I said in previous interviews, it's when Matlock goes past post in front, it's little Lockie sends me a thumbs up every time. And it's just the joy of knowing that, you know, two boys that have been handed a raw deal in life, that you can just put a smile on their face and have them so happy about it being involved.
Yeah, it's a very nice gesture that you've done to be able to, you know, put a smile on their face. Can you tell us first of all about little Lockie and how, I think I read in the story, or you told the story about how he went down with his family to Geelong, and when you told him that you were going to give him a share, the excitement on his face.
Oh, it was phenomenal. So they weren't expecting me to give him a share at all. They just wanted me to introduce him to me, and he was just so keen. He's watching him out of the window, and yeah, the joy on his face, like I said, he's got a little computerised. He can't walk or talk, young Lockie. So the little computerised thing he's got on the front, he actually communicates through that. And when I said to him, you know, would you like it? He's just pushed, his fingers gone down hard on the button and say, yes, please, yes, please. And he was just going off. He was so excited in the chair. And it's just the joy. Like, I mean, you know, I just think it's great to be able to involve young kids like this and give them something to look forward to in life.
Well, we've had Gary Wilson over here in Perth who has cerebral palsy, and I know David Simonetti, when he was at Greyhounds WA, he spent a lot of time and effort in involving kids with cerebral palsy in greyhound racing. So I think it's great that you've been able to continue that on. And tell us about Matt Field, because Matt, I know on social media, he loves getting involved. He loves greyhounds. He sends me a message, you know, good luck with my calls when I've got a feature race coming up. He's a lovely guy. But tell us about Matt and how you got him involved with this greyhound as well.
Yeah, well, I've known Matty through Geelong more. He's there every Tuesday and every Friday, and like you said, he's so involved. He's always wishing everybody that wins a major, he's on there, whether he knows them, connects with them close or not. He's on there straight away to congratulate everyone and wish everyone good luck if they're coming up to a race, and he just loves it. And he got involved with another dog called Matt, and then he had Matt's Hope, and yeah, so I just offered him a share in another one, and like he just loves it. He gets involved, and he loves his social media. I'll give him that much.
Yeah, he does. He'd be a great promoter for greyhound racing if we could get him to spread it further. He's a smart dog, this one, Matt Lockett, but you've had a few problems with him along the way.
Yeah. Look, he's a great pup, but we broke him in, and he broke in top class. And when he was about, I don't know, just start of his career, he pulled the tendon clean off the bone, and I was shattered. I think I was crying for about 3 days because I knew the quality pup that he was, and I didn't want to give up on him. You know, some dogs just sort of pull the pin out of the gap and stuff like that, but I just knew what I had, and I didn't want to give up on him. So I had a conversation with another trainer called Nancy As a Party, and he said, "Oh, you know what? If he's such a good pup, it's worth persevering with." So he told me what to do and guided me through, and we worked on him. We lasered him morning and night for 5 months, every single day, and just slowly built him up to the gallop, and he's just come back better than ever. Yeah,
fantastic. What are the plans with him?
He'll probably go to the Western District now, back to Ballarat on Wednesday night. They got the Young Dogs Western District series, and after that follows the Ballarat Cup straight after. So that's then into the Pink Diamond series. Probably that's the plan. I haven't put him around. I think he will run 500 eventually, but because of the stopper, I haven't even attempted to put him around 4 corners just yet. So.
There was a lot of eyes on the Warrnambool Cup last week, Michelle, not only with your dog winning, but also the place getters behind him, Morton, Trooper Tears, and your other dog, Fernando Phil, who are engaged in the Sandgroper. It was a great field to be able to get those greyhounds down there. What did you make of the Sandgroper coming up? What did you make of the Sandgroper with Fernando Phil, who you competed with a few weeks ago?
Oh, look, the night was fantastic. Sportsbet really turned it up. They are fantastic. And Look, he was a bit unlucky. He slow-mo, he actually jumped in front of the field, nose down, but the dog on the outside stepped out a little bit and stood on his foot, and then he couldn't get down. The forward just sat on the inside of him, then it bumped him, he ran right off. But I was proud of him. I thought he finished on quite well for what he went through and everything like that. He trialled the house down. He had a good look. Everything was going forward for him. It's just unlucky on box rise.
Yeah. He's a very good dog. You've got a very smart team and a great story with Matlock as well. Well done for winning the Warrnambool Cup last week, and thanks, Michelle, for joining us here on TAB Radio's Greyhound Gossip.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good on you. Michelle Mallia, lovely lady who's been involved in the sport, and a really good story that she can get a young guy with spina bifida and also cerebral palsy involved in greyhound racing. It's stories like that that we should be promoting more and more, and I'm really pleased that she was able to join us online. Pete Howell heard part of that story, or most of that story. We've had a fire drill here in the head offices of Racing and Wagering WA. Hopefully the building's still okay. Pete, good morning to you. That is a lovely story, isn't it, from Michelle?
Yeah, it certainly is. And, it's great that, the greyhound community and code over the years has always looked out for others and, always share. It's a very good, plenty of touching stories, isn't there?
We've had quite a few stories over the years, haven't we, where kids with cerebral palsy that have come along, and they seem to have that, the docile sort of touch that greyhounds have. They seem to have that communication, be able to communicate with them. Yeah,
greyhounds are smart animals, as all dogs are, and they generally can gravitate, and they just know when something maybe is not quite right or normal, and they're all over it. They're fantastic animals, as we know, but plenty of others out in the community.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't.
Now, there's lots happening in greyhound racing, and I'd like to get you in this morning just to go through with our audience to be able to tell them what is happening. So first of all, tell us what's happening in regards to the Cannington track works.
Yeah, so that's hot off the press last week. It takes a bit of time sometimes to get all the contracts done and the budget approvals. But, so the last meeting at Cannington will be on Sunday, May 26th. So keep that in mind. That's at the end of the month, and it will be closing down for a period of works. No exact firm date yet, but we'd like to think towards the end of late September we'll be able to trial and get involved to be at least racing there, if it's not late September, early October. Works are not as significant as obviously we had at Mandurah. Mandurah was quite a big redevelopment, but it's still replacing the inside and outside. All the rail there's quite rusted away from the very high saline area there. It's very low lying. It used to be an old swamp. So, fixing that up, replacing the track all the way down to the base and resetting the sand, etc., and the base down of that. Starting boxes, just there's not much we can do with the existing shape. We don't have much room, but we'll be realigning, just making sure those alignments, especially that 380 where it sort of goes into the rail then out again. So just trying to pivot that a little bit where the greyhounds are more running straight there rather than in out.
Okay, so we're not moving the boxes out?
No, we don't have the space as it's so limited there. Just more pivoting what's the angles to try and work that out. So extending the catching pen as well. The catching pen's quite small, so the length of the catching pen will also be expanded.
So someone naive like me who watches running races, greyhound races, racing, and you see the barriers or the boxes on a slight angle, which I was under the impression it was because the measurements of the track, the outside dogs, if the boxes were pivoted around, which you're saying is going to happen, the outside dog would be running further. Is that the case or not?
Well, I think they measure it down to all greyhounds are hitting 1 metre off the rail at that same point. So I trust the engineers and the guys that do the geometry of these things, and you've got to trust what they're doing, and that's.
So when it was originally built, the talk was from trainers saying that the boxes should have been built out another metre or 2 metres out. So you're saying that outside rail can't be moved?
No, it's like, what it's like there. You got the fence, and we're pretty much right on that path, and there's just literally very little room to wiggle with. So we have to work within the confines of what we have, unfortunately, out on the little plot of land out in Cannington.
So, and the 275 metre boxes, will they stay? Because there was some talk as well that was going to be lengthened.
Yep. They are staying. The only time when we were considering lengthening was if we were going to completely remove the 380 boxes. And again, out on that back straight, we would have only been able to probably achieve about a 300 or 302.
Yep.
So it was still not going to cater for the 380 to 400 metre dogs. So it was almost a case of, you're going to end up with the same result and minus a box. So we'll see if we can just get these greyhounds running a little bit straighter into that bend on the 380. And, the future of those races will be determined by how clean the result is there. And worst case scenario, we still won't be in any different situation. We'll still have a 275 for the real short courses.
Okay, and so the 600 will stay the same as well?
The 600 will also have its pivoted as well, because essentially it's just a mirror image of the 380. We don't run as many out of there, so we don't see as often those crowd ups. But
and how long do we expect to be not racing at Cannington for?
Well, we're hoping the works should be around the end of September. So whether or not that's ready for trialling or racing by then, or definitely, hopefully by October. And good confidence, the same people that did the Mandurah job, and they were very efficient in what they did, and quite comfortable. As long as the winter we don't have floods, but
sure.
It's Perth, I don't think we will.
Northern will be taking more racing then, so what nights will we be racing at Northern?
Yeah, similar to that Mandurah shutdown, we'll be up at Northern on the standard Monday, and we'll be heading up there again in that Thursday early evening, around that sort of 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock start. So, punters and trainers just be aware of that. And that Thursday card will be interesting. We will be programming city options for the dogs that like that sort of two-turn version. So there'll be potentially city greyhounds running up there, especially over the 500 and maybe the 700. Now,
something that I fell off my chair when I read this, obviously you've consulted with the industry, the WA Sprint and Distance Final, you're planning on having it at Northern this year?
Yes, we did consult with a few, but in reality is the Angle Park Final is a two-turn track with a high 700-metre distance and a 500, so that's Northern. And that's, Mandurah's quite different. It's having dogs qualifying over, say, the 652, going to go over there and run 740. It's quite a big difference. So running up at Northern over the 720 is a compatible distance. We saw last year when we had the Derby and the Oaks up there for the listed features. The good greyhounds travelled. And, so we will be having the national qualifiers at Northern.
I think if we put the prize money on, we find that a lot of the trainers do travel up there. The other feature races,
their choice as well, ultimately. If they don't want to go, they don't have to, but that's where the race will be.
Yep. And also the feature races during the winter months, will they be held at Mandurah?
They will be. So we will be having, I think, in the existing calendar, the Winter Cup, the Maiden Classic, the Paradise Street, West Chase, and the Distance Potential will all be run over those 488 and 652s. And similar as well for just some of the maiden greyhounds that get certain qualifications. I'll just be allowing them to be running in the city maiden equivalents at those both venues, especially up at Northern, where they generally have only got country qualifications. If they want to have a crack in the city on a Thursday, they just have to ring the grading office and we'll give them a city grade.
And is there any news updated on the new track, the straight track? Has there been any further progress there?
It's a slow operational burn. Any of these sort of projects, you get bogged down in the planning stages are often the worst and the most painful. So there's a lot of paperwork requirements, especially around that area. It's quite a sensitive location from the Heritage Act. It's very close to that Pinjarra massacre site. Yep. So going through the red tape at the moment just to get the approvals to start even turning some ground to do some of the early site is very tricky. Okay. So, that's where the stage is at. Unfortunately, you can't accelerate those processes when it comes to government.
Anything else to report?
I'll just mention as well, we put in the kennel notes the owner licence renewal period's coming up soon. So that's something that trainers really have to be aware of and on top of their owners, just to ensure that all that paperwork is returned on time, because during that period we just hate it when we have to potentially leave a greyhound out that's just, someone hasn't signed a document properly, or I know it can be a little bit tedious, but get onto it early so we just don't have any greyhounds missing out for a silly reason.
Beautiful. Thanks for joining us, Pete, this morning and for updating that, and hopefully there's no more fire alarms going off today.
A bit of a false alarm. No one's toast went off. It was all good.
Peter Howell joining us, the racing manager from Racing WA, and an update on the track at Cannington. We'll take a quick break, and then after this, Tim Walker will hopefully be back, and if he's come back in from the fire alarm outside, he'll be joining us shortly to go through with off and pacing.